All right, so we have a 2004 Chevy Suburban 2500 HD, 6 litre petrol. As I said, running a turbo, cheap Chinese eBay turbo, running 5 pounds boost, water to air intercooler. The whole point of this setup was to build a bit of a sleeper that no one actually could tell it had a turbo on it. So I'll give you a quick rundown and then we'll get into pulling it apart. All right, so here's the Chevy. And we have a cheap Chinese T4 76mm turbo with a 0.96 AR turbine housing. We have a water to air intercooler, running HP tuners on a factory ECU. Water gets pumped to a cooler that's down there behind the bumper. As I said, running 5 pound, HP tuners, original software, 60 pound injectors. We have electric fans, made up a new shroud for it. This is a right-hand drive vehicle in New Zealand, so hence the reason why everything probably looks a bit back to front to people. Due to the right-hand drive, could not put the exhaust down the side here because of the steering rack, so the exhaust is actually mounted straight down in front of the block there and then all the way underneath. Here we've got the grill off and the top engine shroud. You can see the additional cooling that we've got here. So we've got an extra cooler for the oil with AN10 lines. We've actually got 2 transmission coolers sitting here with AN6 lines. These are going both to the transmission, which is a 4L80E in this instance. This big line here is the cooling hose that goes to another one of these coolers mounted directly behind the bumper for the water to air intercooler you see up the top there. As we start getting it apart, you can see a bit more here. So remember, this is not a how-to video, this is just how I have done it. Here's the pump, 12 volt pump, running the water to air intercooler lines. That's fed off a temperature switch that's sitting up here in the air intake. It's adjustable. Once I've got it set to a predetermined temperature, it kicks in the pump, cycles the water through the water to air intercooler, around the lines, down to this cooler in the front. That's in a nice carbon fiber stone tray that I made because, hey, why not? And here we have the box of bits that's going into this thing. Camshaft, pistons, rings, gaskets, Eagle, I-beam, LS rods, Summit, pistons. I say not going for a huge build here, just a bit more reliability. We didn't go for the Pro spec pistons, we just went for the Summit forged coated pistons. Same deal with the rods, we went for I-beam LS rods instead of the Summit Pro or any H-beam rods that are a lot stronger due to value for money. Again, full gasket sets. Doing all the seals, all the gaskets, right the way through. We're going to pull the motor out and give it just a little bit of a freshen up. About an hour into it, water to air intercooler's off, along with the bumper and the inner guards. It's a fairly easy job to do. Lots of info on YouTube. So we're starting to look a bit more like an LS engine now. Now what we can see is that we've got forward-facing headers. These were off eBay. These were pretty cheap. They actually bolted straight on. Didn't have any issues with them. What I did have to do to make room for the wastegate and the turbo and everything was I actually had to cut the right-hand side back just a little bit. So I just trimmed it off, welded a new flange on it. I got the short ones because I had done some research and found out with the with some models that you can't get to the power steering filler there. So I'll put a part number in the description at some stage for once I look up and see what it is. The only other thing we've got on the front of the motor here is we've got a ICT billet alternator bracket. We've got a breather setup which runs off both the covers, runs off an AN10 line on the right hand cover, and it runs off the original PCV valve on the left hand side cover. Everything else, stock truck manifold, I say 60-pound injectors, stock fuel system, stock fuel regulator, and the electronic regulator from the tank. Here you can see a bit of the pipe work coming up the front for the turbo. It's a bit of a spaghetti junction down the bottom there. Both banks left and right, I've actually measured up the same. It's a nice big curve down the bottom. Get a better view of it once everything comes off. Have a quick look underneath while we're draining the oil out. As you can see, a bit of a spaghetti junction of pipe work under here, and then comes down all the way back into just one single pipe, 3 resonators or mufflers on it. Keeps it fairly quiet. We've got a drive shaft safety loop here that's required for the New Zealand certification for LADE. Additional cooling lines here on dash 10 lines going up to one of those cooling radiators up the front. Here we go with another view, front strip down. Nice big heat shield there, protecting everything. There's another shot of that exhaust system coming all down the front. Oil drain from the turbo back into the sump. You can see a relocated NOx sensor there. Turbo drain pipe there. Probably the only thing I'm not really that happy with is turbo drain pipe was just a little bit tight. I would have preferred to have a little bit more fall on it, but as you can see, there's not a lot of room down there to try and squeeze it through. Cooling system draining in the background there. Good thing about having these forward-facing headers is you can actually reach every single plug with the guard liner out on both sides. Just makes it so much easier and faster to change the plugs. So here we have front end stripped down, coolant draining, bottom of the turbo there, and our Turbo Smart wastegate. And there, as you can see on this side, nice and easy to reach all the plugs. And there's our steering shaft, because this is a right-hand drive conversion. That's the end of the first session. So I've managed to get the headers off both sides. Turbo's hanging in the breeze now. And a big pile of parts sitting there, waiting to go back on when we get the engine back in. On to the start of the second day. Got the manifold stripped off, water pump, air conditioning compressor has been disconnected and has been degassed. Rocket cover off the left hand side. We've just started putting in one at a time the Summit bronze trunnion upgrades. Quite like these, have got very little side to side movement in the bronze trunnion. One thing that I'm a little bit nervous about is it's got a very small circlip on it. We'll see, time will tell. Had been a little bit nervous about running these, had read all sorts of failures about different brands. I've made sure that these have been pressed and flush. There's no bronze or brass residue on the outside. Made sure that the trunnion can actually float side to side slightly. Circlips are on and we've rotated them to make sure they're all in the grooves, and of course they're loaded up with engine assembly loops. So we'll see how they go. We'll give you an update when we get the thing running. And of course this is why people do the upgrades. The original bearings aren't captive, and if they do come out, you have lots and lots of these metal bits running around the inside of your engine. For those interested, this is the kit that I'm using from Summit Racing. Yeah, it looks the same as most of the other kits. Seems to fit all right. Everything goes together well. The diameter here sits really well with the original factory LS rocker arm posts, so we'll see how they go. One thing I would have liked to see is, I'm not sure why, but I would have liked to have seen this flat machine just a little bit wider, just to let more oil through the actual bearing surface. I do know some brands have a machined groove in the actual bearing themselves. These don't, but we will see again how long they last. Quick update here. This is the factory rocker arm. It's Travelers Limited somewhat. I believe that it's only a problem with high lift cams. These bearings are not captive inside the needle bearings. They, if any of these caps come off, the bearings will fall through the motor. There's a flat side on one of the rocker and a curved side on the other. What I'm doing is putting the flat side on top of a socket. I'm grabbing a socket that fits in with the just through the bearing itself. Give it a couple of taps. There you go, sure falls to pieces. And there's all those little bearings. There's the inner, the outer, and lots of little bearings. All right, so here's our trunnion. I'm getting a bit of fine 600 sandpaper, and I'm just running it just around the very edge itself, just to make sure there's no burrs both sides. Just a very quick once over. Once I've done that, I'll give it a quick clean, and then we'll press in one of the bronze inserts, followed by the trunnion, and then the remainder insert, and then the circlips. All right, quick clean done. I'm just checking to make sure that our bronze insert, it's got a nice chamfered edge on it, plenty of Loctite. I'm just going to rush through this. This isn't a how-to, this is just how I've actually done it. A little bit of lube all around. What I'm going to do is put the flat side in the press, and I'm going to press the first bearing in nice and flush, and we'll put the trunnion in, followed by pressing the next bearing. Right, set up on the press. Just going to make sure that we've got this centered and spread the load of it. And this doesn't take much effort at all. It'll just come down nice and evenly. And there we go. Just nice and slow again. Doesn't take much pressure at all. For the second one, I'm going to set it up on a socket. Got a couple of washers which will slip over. Set that up nice and even. Make sure it's centered. Going to ease it in. It should just go in nice and smooth. There we go. Just going to press it all the way in until it's flush. And now we're ready to put the circlips on. And another update. Front's off. Engine's out on its stand. Bores look really good. Still standard pistons with the dish in them for the LQ4. Lifters were quite snug, so they all came out, they all looked really good. Original cam looks really good. Rear main seal not leaking, so that was good. So tomorrow on to stripping the rest of the block down, cleaning it, throwing some new parts at it. Day 2, we've honed the cylinders. We've file fitted the total seal rings. 0.25 on the top, 0.26 on the bottom. Double check 0.17 on the oil control ring. Rest of the block is all stripped down. Going to change the cam bearings as well. Found number 1 cam bearing, closest to the front of the motor. Just a little bit of wear on it. Rest of them look really good. Main bearings look good. Rod bearings look good. So yeah, quite happy with the way it's come out so far. Day 3, all the pistons in, front cover on, torque down, rear cover's on, oil seals are in, all the bottom end's done, oil pan on. Bit of a mission on the transmission today. Torque converter out, pump out, redid the gears. Old ones there, still look pretty good, but decided I'd do it while I was there. Did the seal behind the pump housing, as that was in about 4 pieces. At the same time, decided to give a bit of a freshen up, drove out the old bush in the front of the pump housing, put a new bush in, new seal in, drilled that out for the Transco HD2 kit, front seal, oil relief, mod is suggested in the Transco kit. Have the valve body back on, just got to torque that down and put the pan on, then we'll button the transmission up, and yeah, then we'll throw the heads on, and this will be back in the vehicle. On to day 4, engine back in, bolted back up to the transmission, starting to refit everything at the moment, and then we'll go through that nice big job of putting that whole front and all of the turbos together. Back at it, and on cleaning up the heads, we find that there's cracks between each cylinder where the valves sit. You can just make it out there. This one shows up even better. So unfortunately, it's time for more money and new heads. We've got the wideband all hooked up.